Welcome back to Multi-Passionate Mompreneur. Today I have a bonus episode for you. This episode is all about describing and figuring out what exactly motivates you. Yeah, if you can figure out this thing of what exactly motivates you and what really is the strategy that you need for keeping your promises to yourself, then this is the episode for you. All right, let's dig in. So I start today with talking about the 4 tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. So if you haven't checked out the book, Better Together, or you can hop over to 4tendentiesquiz.com and find out which of these 4 categories you fit in. This is all about figuring out what kind of person you are, really. So how do you respond to expectations? Do you wake up saying, what do I have to do today? Or is it more so the lines of, I do what I want today. Like I want to do my own thing. Like I don't like the day being pre-subscribed. What's the word? I don't know. All right, so the 4 different tendencies are Upholder, Questioner, Obliger, and Rebel. I bet you right now you are thinking about which one I am or which one you are. Well, with each one of these, you're going to find that some of them meet outer expectations. So this might look like something external, meeting deadlines at work, possibly having someone check in with you. If you are someone who thrives with an accountability coach, different rules, even with driving or with different, even cultural norms. And then the inner expectations are going to be things that keep you driven internally. Like you are someone that seems self-motivated, like maybe even waking up early on your own for time for yourself. Okay, so I'll go over each of these pretty quickly, and then I'll hop back over and I want you to think about which one you might be. All right, so the first one is Upholder. They meet outer expectations and they also meet inner expectations. So this is someone who is going to really thrive with using the strategy of scheduling. So if you are an upholder and you are not time blocking, or you are not using maybe a system of some sort to kind of schedule out the things that you want to do or the things that you need to do, then you're really probably not as successful at sticking to what you want. Because at the end, yes, we can talk about motivation all day. And I know there is the quotes that are saying things like, it's not motivation, but it's discipline. And I'm pretty sure I've even shared that on my page before. But when it comes down to it is if you know what gives you energy, what depletes you, or maybe even the strategy for you to meet your goals, you'll be more likely to actually attain them. So an upholder, when they wake up in the morning, they say, I do what others expect from me and what I expect from myself. My son is actually an upholder, and I feel like he asks me a lot, like, so what do we have going on today? And he is already scheduling things that he wants to do ahead. So sometimes it can be frustrating, like, dude, you're 16. No, you're not going to get your license and then go and run the streets, right? So, but he also is someone who, when he got braces, I didn't have to nag him to brush his teeth. Like, he just had this inner expectation that, like, I want my teeth to look good, so I'm going to, get the little water pick thing and even do all the things. It doesn't even matter if he's staying up late with all his friends. At like 1 a.m., I will hear him come upstairs to brush his teeth. So he has an inner expectation of what, basically, oral hygiene, I guess, and he doesn't want the staining of his teeth and just all that. All right, so I want you to picture 4 circles. They're kind of overlapping slightly, kind of reminds me of the Olympics, okay? 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, 1 to the left, and 1 to the right. Head on over to Gretchen Rubin's website for a picture of this, or you can come to Multi-Passionate Mompreneur, or even our group challenge that we had a while back called Enjoy Your Life More, and this can also be posted there. The next one is Questioner. Now, a questioner is someone who resists outer expectations, but they meet their own inner expectations. So this is someone who's wanting to know really the reasons behind the thing they have to do. So they ask themselves, I do what I think is best, according to my judgment. If it doesn't make sense, I won't do it. Now, I will say that mine, which we'll talk about next, which is the rebel, overlaps slightly with this one. So if I have a good reason for my thinking, one that is probably even like I dig down deeper than the surface stuff and I figure out the main why, then I'll do it. But they wake up and they ask themselves, I do what I think is best according to my judgment. If it doesn't make sense, I won't do it. So some of us in our group, I've noticed they'll be kind of resistant to certain changes or things unless you explain the things behind it. So right now I'm working on a course for Facebook engagement, and it will accelerate your engagement and it will do all these things, right? Well, I've actually included a part into the course that is talking about the brain and our need and motivation for needing to belong and needing to have several different things. Go back and listen to the 5 domains that we really need. I believe that's not what it's called, by the way, but it was the last one I just posted, before this. And so you can really kind of zero in on those. And so, yes, let's get back to this. But people need to belong. And so knowing the science behind that would help someone to know that they need to take my course and that they need to really bank on engagement and why you need engagement and why that matters, and knowing the science behind it. If you're someone who is drinking and you figure out what it does to the brain, or you're finding the reasons behind quitting, or you're seeing like the negative effects in your life, that is something that a questioner will need in order to make the changes. They have to really see it from an internal point, like they have to make that shift inside. Now, next up is a rebel. A rebel wakes up and they think, I do what I want in my own way. If you make me try to do something, even if I want to do it myself, I'm less likely to do it. They resist outer expectation and also resist inner expectations. The strategy, first of all, the strategy for questioner is going to be clarity, which I kind of described, but let's give it a name. And then the rebel, their strategy is going to be identity. So how can you step into what you're wanting to do and become like someone's coach or mentor on it? I actually have a good example from this morning. So I have decided last week and the week before that I'm going to get up earlier so that I have time for myself. I did not give any predetermined things that I was going to get done. I just basically said, I'm going to get up earlier and do whatever I want, because I know that I'm a rebel and I know that I do that. So it actually really worked quite well. 90% of the time I was waking up early. Now this week, a friend of mine and I, and you can come along with us too, we're starting to do this hashtag virtual walk, and we're tagging each other in our post, and we are also having some accountability on Voxer. So we kind of talk, chit chat back and forth on Voxer. We share it on social media and that sort of thing. It's great accountability. But what we're also doing is we are bringing people along with us, and we are stepping into the identity part that is someone who walks, someone who runs a walking group. So I just want you to think about that. How can you make what you want to be done into your identity? How can you make it part of your identity? So I know I found this also once back in 2015. I started doing a multi-level marketing company, and it was all around health. And my sister and I both did this, and we stepped into this identity as coaches, and we both lost 80 pounds. And I found that whenever I stopped that company, it made it kind of almost harder to I was even like, why can't I care? And I know I had the back knowledge, I want to be healthy and I want to do all these things. But when I was stepping into the identity of a coach or someone who does XYZ, it was more beneficial for me as a rebel. Something to think about if you are on a loop of starting and stopping and starting and stopping. The last one we have is Obliger. Now, I will say this, I've actually had a group before that I did a beta group where people paid a certain amount, and we ran this book study in another group. And whenever we did that, I asked them what they were, and I had them take the quiz. And 99% were obligers, because these are people who wake up and they say, I do what I have to do. I don't want to let others down, but I may let myself down. So these are people that when asked to join the group, they were just obliging me. So they meet outer expectations, but they sometimes resist the inner expectations that they have on themselves. So this is someone who definitely their strategy is going to be accountability. Now, as a rebel, I want you to picture my circle at the bottom, and it is overlapping somewhat with obliger and somewhat with questioner. So what that means is I'm going to have identity as a strategy to help pull me into the things I want to do, to motivate me, and I tend to get motivated by stepping into the role. Now, obliger is right next to me and it overlaps a little bit. So accountability is going to help too. So that's why this virtual walk, I am voxering each morning with other people so that I can have that accountability for me, but also them. And then questioner, like I need to know the reasons behind it. Obviously, I want to be healthier. I want to have time for myself. I want to time in green space, all of these things. So I hope this was helpful for you in figuring out how you respond to different expectations, how you are motivated, and how you can use this to get your goals completed. Just imagine that if you can figure out more about yourself, then possibly you can also figure out how you can meet that goal that you really want to achieve. All right, I hope you enjoyed this bonus episode. Find me over on social media at angel.mcilhaney. And don't forget to head over to Multi-Passionate Mompreneur so that you can join this challenge with us. I can't wait to see you there, and have a great weekend.